Tune in, folks, it's time to go. Let's get started on the Webb Show. Webby Pumpkin in control, bringing stories to the whole. Hey, 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 it's fun and bright. Join us now, let's take flight. The Webb Show is on tonight. Come along, it's pure delight.
Hey, what is up, everyone? I hope you are excited for another episode of the Webb Show, the only podcast that I know of that throws as much shade towards Xbox as this episode is going to do, with beautiful, handsome hosts like myself who wear Bluey shirts, because Bluey is an absolutely incredible show. If you're listening back on the audio version only, then you're missing out. You're missing out on my Bluey shirt, but don't miss out on an opportunity to watch Bluey. Guys, let me tell you what. There's really not a whole lot of stuff going on this week. I know. You're shook. You're shooketh. You are shooketh. But there are a few things to talk about that I find kind of interesting. And the first one of those somethings has got to be Reach Conference 2025. Let me go ahead and tell you guys about that before we really even get into the show. Reach Conference is literally an event hosted by streamers, for streamers, and their community. It's on its second year. I went to it for the first time as an inaugural founding creator last year in Orlando, and it kind of changed my life as a creator, to be completely honest. And tickets are on sale right now. So if you're interested in meeting me IRL, if you're interested in being a part of Reach Conference 2025, again, it's going to be even bigger, even better this year. Well, you can do that at reachconf.org. That's reachconf.org. You can learn all the information that you'd like to learn, including some highlights from last year's Reach Conference. That was absolutely incredible. And on top of that, you can also get your tickets. Right there at the top of the page is a Get Ticket button. I actually have a special offer that I want to extend to everyone under the sound of my voice, whether you're watching live, whether you're listening back later. If you'd like to come to Reach Conference, you'd like to meet me, I've got a deal for you. And that deal is that whenever you buy your tickets, you can use the promo code WEBBY, WEBBY, all one word, and you can actually get $10 off your ticket. I know that's not a whole lot of savings, but listen, in this economy, every little bit counts, right? So not only will you support me by using my code, but you'll get $10 off of your ticket, and that's for the first 100 tickets. So there you go. Have at it. Would love to meet you guys IRL at Reach Conference. I'm toying with the idea of doing a live podcast episode while I'm there of not only the Webb Show, but I'm trying to convince my co-host, P. Tony, to also do such on for our other podcast, Tangled Christianity. So that would be super, super, super dope. He has not agreed yet. Guys, today all we have on the docket, is that the right word? Is to talk about a concept idea that was uploaded about the Switch 2, an idea that would allow you to turn the actual console upside down and reattach the Joy-Cons. We're going to talk a little bit about the PlayStation State of Play and recap that, but the main thing we're talking about today is some things that good old Phil Spencer, the head of Xbox, had to say that have pretty much fundamentally convinced me that Xbox is just going to be a third party right now. But before we do all that, let's jump into the chat. If you guys didn't know, this is a live podcast that happens every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin, which means if you're here live and you're chatting, I get to hang out with you. If you're listening back on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever you enjoy enjoying your podcasts, that's awesome. I'm glad you're there. Please leave comments. I do read and typically respond to all the comments. However, if you'd like to catch a live show and be featured every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern, would love to have you. We got Mel here. We got Alchemy Elf. We got Crimsonite. Let's see what everybody has to say. Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing so good. You watched Sweet Home Alabama recently, didn't you, Crimsonite? Let's go. I am on a website. Yes, you are, Alchemy. Bluey, thank you. Thank you for appreciating my shirt, Mel. I appreciate that. No, I came up with it on that my own. Whoop whoop, IRL is best. I'd love to meet you, IRL. Coolest pumpkin I know. That's a whole carton of eggs. That is a whole carton of eggs. You're right. Save that $10 and get yourself some eggs that you can bring to Reach Conference. He's already doing live GOF Reach. He is. Talking about P. Tony, I'm going to at least try to convince him, even if we don't do a forum, I'm going to at least try to convince him to sit down with me in like the, what is it called? The foyer or one of the studio rooms at the hotel and just record an episode live because I think that'd be really cool. Alchemy Elf, am I green screening my own room? Yes, I am. Isn't that genius? What up, Pin Scorpion? All right, guys. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first bit of news. We'll start out with some of the lesser news, if you can consider this lesser news. We're going to talk about this Switch. If you're watching live or if you're watching on Spotify back and there is video available, then check this out. But this is a mock-up of the Switch 2 that has been just absolutely everywhere on my X feed, on Blue Sky, everything. Basically, in this mock-up, it shows how, with the current connector style of the Switch, it would theoretically be possible to turn the thing upside down and just plop the things on in any orientation. Why would we do this? Why is this something that anyone would want to do? Well, there's not really a good reason that I could think of. However, I do think that there are some practical purposes here. One of which would be that there is an analog like headphone jack that is on, like, what is it, 3.5 millimeter? That's on, I think, the top by default of the Switch 2. It has two USB-C ports, one on top and one on bottom. I think the headphone jack is on top. By being able to flip it upside down, you would be able to kind of decide where you want the volume rocker and the like the handle. Why can't I talk tonight? And the headphone jack. You could decide if you want that on top or bottom. I think most people will want it on top. It also could open up some interesting articulations for the kickstand, because the kickstand is still on the bottom, but if you were to flip it upside down so the kickstand extends from what would then be basically the top, then you could get pretty much a full range of motion. And maybe that's useful. Do I think that this is something that the Switch will actually be capable of doing? No, I don't. It may be. I mean, it's possible, I guess, because I don't think we've seen a good view of what the connector on the inside of the Switch looks like. Here's some of the reason that I don't actually think that we're going to see this functionality. One, and probably first and foremost, we didn't see anything that even kind of teased this in the teaser trailer. Like nothing that even kind of gave an idea that this would be something that Nintendo would support. Maybe it would technically fit, but that they would support, I'm not really sure. The other thing is, if you remember from the, let me see if I can find the Switch 2 teaser trailer. If you remember, and if I'm remembering right, I believe that the sides of the Switch are color coordinated, so not just the Joy-Cons themselves, but I believe the inside. Let's see if that's the case. I believe the inside of the Switch is also color coordinated. We're looking at that trailer right now. Left is that like light blue, and the right is that like coral pink. Let's see. But I believe the inside, yeah, see, the inside of the Switch is actually color coordinated as well. Okay, we do actually have a view. We do actually have a view of the pin. It looks like the pins are, well, actually, maybe this could work. The pins are all on one side, but if you think about since you're not flipping it in reverse, the pins would always be facing away from the screen. And so even if you did a full 180 spin, as long as the screen is still facing you, the pins would still line up. How many pins do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This actually could potentially work. I still don't think so, though, because we see that it's color coordinated on the inside. At the very top here, we also see a little line where the left and right slots have the plus and minus that we tend to see as like the start and select buttons, if you will. Like, does that one have a plus? Yeah, that one also is. Let me get it, like the freeze frame right on it. Right there, we have a plus indicator in the top of the coral side of the Switch. So more than likely, this isn't something that's actually going to be a function of the Switch, though. I mean, it could be supported, but yeah, that plus and minus label and the fact that each side of the Switch is color coordinated makes it, in my opinion, much less likely that these things are going to be interchangeable, that you can actually rotate it. But how cool of a mechanic would that be? Because it does look kind of like the pin that goes into the Joy-Con is like perfectly centered. Maybe it's not, but it does kind of look like it might be perfectly centered. Kind of want to get a view. Yeah, if you look at the Joy-Con itself, it's like dead in the center of the Joy-Con, which means it's probably dead in the center of that rail. So, like, maybe this actually could potentially be possible. I just, like I said, I don't foresee that they're going to actually support it, but it could actually be possible. Next thing up on the agenda is the meat of today's conversation. It is something that sorry, I have my beard hair in my mouth. It's something that Phil Spencer said, as reported by Xbox Era in an interview. This is some things that old Phil, he be talking. He be talking about Xbox stuff. So the interviewer John says, when it comes, I'm just going to read the quote. I'm going to read what Phil and what the interviewer asked him, and kind of talk a little bit about what he says and why I think it pretty much is setting up Xbox to be a third party studio. So the interviewer said, when it comes to Dev Direct itself, fans have gotten used to, over the last 18 months, of PlayStation announcement for games, and you guys didn't shy away from it this time on your own show. Typically it's been, we will talk about that afterwards. We will put out a press release or a blog post, but you're just showing the PlayStation logo now. Is this just, hey, this is the Band-Aid off, guys? Here we're going to be on different locations. Or is this like a new era? This is what Phil had to say, okay? Basically, what the interviewer is asking him is, in the last Developer Direct, you showed the PlayStation logo at the bottom of the trailers for each game. So instead of like just saying, hey, we're also releasing it on PlayStation separately later, you're actually actively advertising that these games are going to be on PlayStation. This is what Phil had to say. He says, I think it's just being honest and transparent about where the games are showing. And we actually even had this discussion last year for the June showcase. And by the time that we kind of made our decision, we couldn't get all the assets done, and it felt weird to have some of them in and some of them out. But I just want to be transparent with people. For shipping on Nintendo Switch, we're going to put that. For shipping on PlayStation, on Steam, people should know the storefronts that we're going to get where they can get our games. But I want people to be able to experience our Xbox community in our games and everything we have to offer on screen, on every screen we can. And obviously, not every screen is equal. Like there are certain things that we can do on other closed platforms that we can do on open platforms or the cloud. It's different. But games should be the thing that we're focused on. And the strategy that we have allows us to do big games while also supporting our native platform, from hardware to the platform and services that we have, and that's going to be our approach. And I know that this is not what everybody else is doing, but I just believe games should be the thing that's at the forefront. Maybe it's because of how I've grown up in this industry. I came from building games, but I think that the games are the things that I see growing in their strength in what we're doing, and it's because more people can play. So yeah, I'm just trying to be open and transparent with people. So Phil basically is like, hey, if we're shipping on Nintendo Switch, we're just going to be straight up about that on the front end. If we're shipping on PlayStation or on Steam or wherever else we're going to actually be, we're just going to shoot straight with you. We're going to throw that out there, okay? That's not the only thing Phil had to say in this interview, though, okay? In the interview, the interviewer also talked about how whenever Xbox is shipping on PlayStation, for example, then one of the things that is happening is Sony is making 30% of that game. That 30% on the Xbox published games reduces Xbox's overall standing in the market. And there's like still 70% that they'll make, but it does kind of cut down their footprint. This is what Phil had to say, and I'm quoting him again. I'm reading straight from the article. It says, Phil says, it's maybe not what I was going to say on stand at the time, but yeah, I would love to make all of the money for all of the games that we ship, right? Like, obviously, we'll make more on our own platform. It's one of the reasons that investing in our own platform is important. But there are people, whether it's their libraries on a PlayStation or Nintendo, whether it's they like the controller better, that they just like the games or like the games that there are or that are there, and I don't want to then look at that and say, well, there's no way that we should be able to build a business there. Find fans of our franchise there. I'm not trying. Oh, so this is the important part. He says, I'm not trying to move them all over to Xbox anymore. People were all so invested in where our games are. Let's allow more people to play. And yes, the 70% that we make on games on other platforms is helpful to us being able to build great portfolios like we showed at the Dev Direct. And I hope that this will continue to show through the rest of the year. Get this. Phil legitimately says, I'm not trying to move them all over to Xbox anymore. It brings into question, I think, all of us who have built our libraries on Xbox, because as currently, the time being, Xbox or Microsoft is still making the Xbox. Though they sold very, very few of them in 2024. They still are making the Xbox. They're still shipping it. We can expect that they're probably going to continue shipping the Xbox, maybe at least for one more generation. But after that generation, since they're really not selling any systems, I don't know what they're going to do. And honestly, it does. If you're not selling systems, it does make sense to make at least 70% of your income by putting some of your games on other platforms. Though, in the back of my mind, I can't help but think that they probably would actually have sold more systems if there were exclusive games that incentivized people owning said system. Whatever. That's not what Xbox or what Phil are doing right now. They want everything to be an Xbox. They want you to be able to play Xbox first-party games wherever you can. And that ultimately, I think, is going to hurt the bottom line for Xbox. To the point that I said this in the last episode, and I'm saying it again right now, Xbox is pulling a Sega. They are the company that has a console, similar to how Sega had, a Genesis or a Saturn and then the Dreamcast. They have a system, but it's not performing as well as the other guy, as Nintendo. Sega didn't perform as well as Nintendo, and they're not necessarily making decisions that would incentivize more people to jump on board with the green platform, and so they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot. They're fundamentally saying, okay, if you can't beat them, join them, and we will continue to ship hardware that there's really no reason for anybody to buy except for having access to your back catalog if you've already built your ecosystem on Xbox. Now, if you don't have a strong Xbox ecosystem, if you haven't already kind of built up a collection there's really no reason to start when you can buy. You're going to pretty much be able to buy all of the games that Xbox releases on either PC or PlayStation. And you have access to all those PlayStation exclusives on top of it. And so it might make more sense to build your collection on like the PS5 or maybe even the Switch too. Who knows? I don't know if it's going to be powerful enough to really compete. We'll just have to wait and see. But what happens, guys, if after this next generation, Xbox decides, okay, we're still not selling systems. We're just going to continue this third-party type of move like Sega did, and we're going to only make games. So we're only going to develop games, and we're going to release those games on other platforms and on PC, and we're not going to release an Xbox this time. Well, it kind of stinks for anybody who wants to carry their back catalog forward, because all of those Xbox games that you own are not going to be available on PlayStation, unless you rebuy them. Some people are theorizing that are in the conversation, like following the Reddit feed, that there might be some arrangement that can be made where you can kind of transfer your license over. But let's be real. Can you imagine Xbox or Microsoft and Sony trying to work out that detail? There's no way that would go well. There's just no way. So I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts in the chat here at the live stream. Go ahead and throw those out if you have some thoughts. I want to leave comments. I want to hear your comments on this, because I just don't understand how Microsoft or Xbox can feel like they can be the best of both worlds here. That people are going to want to buy their hardware if they do keep continuing to make it, and how they wouldn't necessarily even see themselves yet. At least they haven't said it they wouldn't even necessarily see themselves yet as a third-party studio. I just don't see how those things would connect. I don't. So let me know what you guys think. Maybe I'm completely missing the mark here, though I don't think that I am. Maybe I am. I don't know. Last thing up, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of news today. The last thing up that we're going to do is we're going to just recap the PlayStation State of Play. I've got an IGN article pulled up that has all of the trailers and the announcements. We're going to go through those rather quickly, unless we get to something that is kind of interesting to me. Then I'm like, yeah, I want to talk about that, and we'll talk about it because this is the Webb show, and I'm Webby, and I have that privilege. So that's what we're going to do. First up, we see Soros. It's House Marquis' next game after Returnal. So Soros coming up. That's going to be 2026. We have Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater release. The date is finally confirmed. That date is going to be August 28th, 2025. So that's not too far from now. It's coming up. You don't have too much longer to wait for you Metal Gear fans. Myself, I might actually try this game. I've never played any Metal Gear ever. And I'm sorry, and I know a lot of people give me some slack about that, and maybe honestly so, but what can I say? Maybe this will be my entry point, because I think chronologically this is like the first one. The other exciting thing is that there's also going to be an Ape Escape collaboration, just like in the original game, and potentially more other crossovers, and so that's pretty cool. Borderlands 4 release date confirmed for September 23rd, 2025. Also never played Borderlands. Heard it's a great game. Haven't decided if it's something I'm going to lock into or not, but sounds good. Onimushu, Way of the Sword, new trailer, shows off new gameplay and a protagonist. And then we have that. We have kind of an update there. This game won't be released until 2026. We have a single-player action game, Tides of Annihilation, revealed. I think this is the first time that we saw this. This one looked kind of cool, actually. It did pique my interest. Not gonna lie, I was like, okay, that looks kind of neato. It gave me almost this Mortal Kombat-y type of vibe. But anyway, I've got an advertisement playing right now, but I'm gonna have that trailer playing in the background here in just a second once it plays through. Tides of Annihilation was one of the big surprises for the show, and I don't think that we got an actual confirmed date on it. This is what it looked like. Maybe even like a Devil May Cry meets Mortal Kombat type of view. It looked pretty neat though. I'm kind of feeling it. It is intended to be an intense breakneck combat and immersive narrative set in an unforgettable setting. Tides of Annihilation takes place in modern London, and that's been taken over by otherworldly forces. Players will take on the role of Gwendolyn and will be able to call the Knights of the Round Table to help her in combat. Oh, and they'll also get to fight bosses as big as skyscrapers. I thought it looked kind of neat. Neato. We're getting a Days Gone remaster, which will bring you back to the Freaker-filled world this April. So April 25th, 2025 is the Days Gone remaster. This is interesting because one of our chatters actually dropped in. We live streamed this show. They dropped in at the beginning and were like, man, it'd be nice to see a new Days Gone. And this is not a new Days Gone, but it is a remake of the other Days Gone, and I think it should potentially give Days Gone fans some hope that maybe we might, if this does well, maybe we will see some Days Gone 2 or what's going on. The other interesting thing about this is that it's coming to VR, and so it's going to have VR and PS5 Pro support, permadeath and speedrun modes, as well as an enhanced photo mode, additional accessibility features, and even a Horde Assault mode. What is that word? Horde Assault mode that will have Deacon St. John taking on even more freakers than usual. This is the cool part. Players who already own the PS4 version of Days Gone will be able to upgrade to the PS5 enhanced version, the remaster, for only $10, which is exciting because I think that I own this. I'm pretty sure I own this through PlayStation Plus catalog. So that's something I might do. I might spend the $10 to upgrade to this. This I think April 25th. April 25th, 2025. New PlayStation Plus games coming to the catalog for February 2025. That's going to be Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Top Spin 2K25, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, Tape 1, and a few others. Leslie Benzies Mind Eye gets a gameplay trailer and a summer 2025 release window. So it's going to be like later this year. Warriors Abyss is a new roguelite launching at the time of the actual event. It launched already, so it's already out right now on PS5 and PS Pro. Sorry, PS5, PS5 Pro, PS4. Dynasty Warriors is getting a roguelite spinoff called Warriors Abyss. It actually looks kind of neat. I'm not even the biggest fan of like warrior-like games, but whatever. We got a first look at Sonic Racing Cross Worlds gameplay, which is coming later in 2025. That's kind of neat. You know, if you like Mario Kart, but you prefer Sonic to Mario, maybe this is for you. Stellar Blade is getting a crossover DLC and PC port release window. And Lies of P, a game that we saw come, excuse me, a game that we saw come to Xbox Game Pass on day one. That game is getting a prequel DLC expansion that got announced in the State of Play, which kind of surprised me. I'm actually currently doing a playthrough of Lies of P. Didn't love it at first, but it's growing on me. And so this is interesting. This potentially might interest me and be something that I end up jumping into. A new WWE 2K25 Spotlight and multiplayer update. Shinobi Art of Vengeance coming to PS5 and PS4. Metal Eden Adrenaline Rush is coming to PS5 on May 6th. Lost Soul Aside is getting a release date, a new gameplay trailer that revealed some more updates on that. That release date is May 30th, 2025. Monster Hunter Wilds actually might be my first real Monster Hunter game. It looked pretty compelling and interesting. And it's getting a Mitsune in its first big update, or it adds Mitsune. I don't know if that's a character from other games. I don't really know. But that is that's coming up. Split Fiction, a game that I'm very excited about. It's got a new story trailer, and it also we may have already known this release date. I don't think this is a release date confirmation, but that's going to be March 6th, which is next month, and it's very exciting because I really want to play Split Fiction, and I think I've already convinced one person to play it with me, so that's fantastic. March 6th. I need to actually write that down and add that to my March playthrough. Supermassive Games Direct for Directive 8020. That's a new PS5 exclusive coming out in October. Next Pixel Junk was an interesting shooter game, but instead of destroying things when you shoot it, it creates things. That was kind of an interesting concept. Darwin's Paradox was hilarious. It follows an octopus who finds himself in a food factory and he has to escape. It was really, really, really similar in my mind to the way that gameplay works for games like Limbo and Inside and Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2, all of which, especially Little Nightmares, all of which were games that I really, really enjoyed. And so I'm expecting that I'm also going to really enjoy Darwin's Paradox. I think it looks really neat. That is going to... I don't think we got a release date on that, but it's a story-based platformer. Darwin's Paradox is aiming to let players truly understand what it feels like to be an octopus. Darwin can climb, camouflage himself, and shoot ink with the added benefit of feeling the actions come to life in the dual sense. I think this is going to be a PlayStation exclusive. At least, I looked it up. I have to look it up again. Actually, I'll do that right now. I'll have to look it up again. I looked it up on Steam on the day of the Direct, and it did not show up. And so I'm really thinking that it's going to actually be a... Oh, nope, I think I found it. It just took a little while to update on Steam. Coming soon. Adding that to my wish list. That's exciting. I think that's going to be a really fun game. I think that's going to be real neato. Real neato. So, look forward to that. Oh, look at there. It actually says at the very end of it what all it's going to be on. So PS5, Xbox Series S and X. It's coming to Nintendo Switch. Nice. Steam, and it's made in Unreal Engine. So that's cool. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Ichiban is taking a trip to Dave the Diver. Dave the Diver has been gotten kind of a lot of crossovers, which is good for them. That's awesome. Hell is Us gets a new look and release date. Digimon Story actually excited me way more than I would have anticipated. It's set to launch in 2025 on PS5, and it's a JRPG, which is not normally my vibe, so I don't know if I'll like it. But, whatever. It's kind of cool. And then Five Nights at Freddy's, Secret of the Mimic brings players back to the horror franchise. We're getting another Five Nights at Freddy's. And guys, that's pretty much the news for this week. I know that wasn't a whole lot, but it's something, right? It's something. We'll be live again tomorrow. Come hang out on the live stream. Guys that listen to the podcast, come hang out on the live stream. I actually have another podcast that we do live on Tuesdays. And then I normally stream. I'm playing some Marvel Rivals, trying to get good before a collaboration this Tuesday. But tomorrow, or Tuesday, which would be the February 18th, I'm going to be practicing Marvel Rivals before the podcast. And then I'm going to be collaborating with a couple other content creators on Twitch on Thursday. Would love for you guys to check that out. They're going to carry me because I am the Marvel Rivals complete noob. And then on Friday, we're going to finish up our Gamer Club game, which is on Ravel. If you don't know what the Gamer Club is, it is basically like a book club that I launched for my community, but we come together, we pick a game to play, and we play that game rather than reading a book. And we're playing on Ravel right now. The last week of this month, we'll come together, we'll chat about it, and then we'll vote for March's game. And so looking forward to that. And if you want to be a part of that, jump into the Discord and just at me. Say, @Webby Pumpkin. I'd like to be a part of the Gamer Club. We'll get you all the information that you need. And that is pretty much what is set up for the week. Would love to have you guys on any live stream. I stream every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday over at twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin. Invite you to come hang out with me on one of those live stream episodes. And thank you all again for just hanging out and listening to the podcast. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate everybody giving me their attention and a little bit of their time. And I hope you have a fantastic remainder of your week. See you guys.